Howdy. I did a show yesterday and I talked about polls in Canada for the upcoming Canadian election, and I didn't finish my sentence and my mouth opened and some words fell out and I said polls have to be believed, and of course I don't believe that. I was supposed to have a question mark in the end and I was supposed to get deeper, but I was all wound up and I wanted to get to the topics, and what I was trying to say is that polls, are they believable? People think so, many people, but you know what? Polls are for strippers and polls are for dogs. And we have to go with that. If you believe the polls, you wouldn't even vote. So the polls are meant to influence our behavior, I'm certain of that, and we just have to be cautious with them because they're to be believed, not so much. As Prime Minister Andrew Scheer recently said this, I will make surplus real estate available for development to increase the supply of housing. You know, that sounds very socialistic. I hope he's not. He needs to get with the program. So many people have said, hey, you're going to vote Conservative, and I've said no one knows who I'm going to vote for. I've never said that, but y'all can figure it out yourself. I will go with a Conservative person and group that can make Canada better. That's who I'm going to vote for. So, Mr. Scheer, that'd be great if you were that person. But so far, you're kind of making some stuff said, good grammar, that shouldn't be said. You're going to make federal real estate available. What you don't say is are you going to lease it to them? Are you going to own it? They do that in Red China, used to do that in Russia. I mean, you need to be clearer with your sentences, kind of like I wasn't yesterday, and you're not today, or are you? That's an issue. It's just like the other day you had a headline from Max that said corporate welfare. I'm going to get rid of it. But then you said, but I'm going to only give it to people who are deserving, people who will create jobs for Canadians and so on. What does that mean? Somebody's already doing that in the Liberal government, so they're giving it away. Either get rid of it or you don't. He said, I'm going to get rid of it, but kind of, sort of, maybe. And that, again, that's not Conservative. You got to get with it. You got to kick it up a notch, because what Maxine is doing, he stated the way it is. I am going to get rid of it. There's no but. Right? And he's not saying that he's going to supply all of this housing property, federal government housing property, and probably you'd have to lend them the money. You got to clean up your act, because right now, that's not Conservative stuff. You know, and then you have the Prime Minister of Canada who goes on to say, I'm going to build 500,000 new homes. I think it's him. I do have some parties mixed up here, the NDP and the Green and so on. I'm pretty sure it's a Liberal promise. If it isn't, I'm sure it will be by Tuesday. 500,000 new homes that we're going to build. And also he says, I want the swipe fee eliminated to merchants who pay to credit card companies in every transaction. Okay, but that's, you can't do that. That's not good. I guess you can do that, unfortunately. But what happens then? I mean, the credit card companies, they have to be paid. And I'll work for free. Who pays them? Oh, the government will pay them so you can save money to the merchants. It doesn't work that way. And then he wants to ban the sale of petroleum products. In a few years, he wants a shorter work week. That could be the NDP. And he wants to ask the UN for another inquiry. The UN, another inquiry into Canadian business on missing and murdered Indian women and children. What about white people who get murdered? Should we ask the UN to help them too? What about Indian men? The whole thing doesn't make any sense, you know. And then he wants to lower the prices for cannabis to make sure it's competitive with illegal supplies. That could be the Green Party. Let's analyze that. So you go out to a criminal and you say, what's your pricing this week? And then we're going to advertise that we'll be 10% less than the criminal price, right? Okay, why don't you just get rid of the criminals? That'd be a good thing. Kind of go out and make a law. Oh, there is a law. Enforce the law. Justin Trudeau recently moved up and down three rows of Toronto area Liberal candidates and his finance and foreign affairs minister. He was there at this hotel to talk about guns and how he wants to take them all away from good guys, right? And he went to the three rows and to his ministers, and he embraced them all. He hugged them. He was having a love fest, right? He's walking up and down hugging everybody. If you ever hug me, whap, keep away. Don't be hugging people like that. What's wrong with you? These are people that you work with. This feminist stuff has just got to stop. And then he says, I've got to give $4.2 million to help develop innovative fruit. Okay, then, you know what? There's too much fruit in his salad, that guy, and there's no bullets in the chamber, and he's about as sharp as a marble. For heaven's sakes, what are you doing? You know, lastly, I would like to be the moderator of a debate with the five Liberals. You have leaders. 4 of them maybe are, I don't know. Hopefully only 3 of them. But you got Maxine, you got a commie, and the Conservative Party, right? I would like to talk to them all. And I don't think that they would, but I'd like to make it attractive. I'm old, I'm rich, I'm senile, so you can take advantage of me. I would post $1 million for charities, which would be $200,000 per leader, and they could decide who they want to give it to, and then you put them all in the hat and somebody pick it out and say, hey, this is the winner, and they get the $1 million. I've talked to Elections Canada and other people trying to get this thing organized. I don't think it'll happen. Don't hold your breath. But I'm a patriot, and I very much want to get involved in this thing to help the country so all of us can see the leaders debating and responding to questions that are asked that actually have an impact on us. The questions that are asked in most of these debates are kind of silly, and all they do is fight and argue with each other, and I'd like to be in control of that, and I'm prepared to pay for it to make it happen. I hope it does. Hey, and I hope y'all come back here tomorrow. We're going to have more for you from the right. See ya.